Kind of surprised that I had to make this video. It's not like my usual content, but I figured I better put it out there because if it helps one person, then, I've done my job. When I was younger, I collected sports cards, and in the last year or two, I got back into it. I had never sent cards to PSA to get graded. When I got back into it, I kind of looked into the process and it seemed super easy, so I downloaded the app. They have membership tiers. I just signed up for the basic membership because it got you cheaper prices when you submitted your cards. I never submitted through GameStop or my local card shop. I just did it myself through the app, which was super easy. Basically, you just scan the cards, they pop up in the inventory, you pick the card, you pack it up, and you send it to PSA. So when you get done doing your submission, it'll ask you if you want to purchase a prepaid FedEx label from PSA to make the process more seamless. I mean, the way that they sell it is this is going to save you money. It's going to make the process more secure and more seamless. And you're sending these cards, and a lot of them are, $40, $50, but every once in a while I'd have a card that was super nice, $200, $300. So, you want it to be protected on the way to PSA. And I will preface this by saying I did a lot of submissions with seamless process and nothing has really happened, but I've been seeing a lot on social media where people, whether the cards are going to PSA or they're coming back from PSA, that they're being stolen in transit by FedEx workers. And so the problem is, like, the first time that you submit cards through PSA, you kind of understand the trick as to how they're protecting it, because when you print the label out, it doesn't say this is going to PSA, these are expensive cards. It goes to a person's name and an address, like you're mailing something to a person to try to conceal that they're sports cards or Pokemon cards, whatever you're sending, or One Piece cards. So when it comes back from PSA after they've been graded, you need to sign for it with the driver to get it back. So, it gives you this illusion that there's a lot of security and a lot of insurance. I mean, there's people sending in cards that are like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 to PSA to get graded, and they're just kind of putting the hope into PSA and FedEx to protect their cards so that they can get them back. So I did this one submission. It was about 10 cards, and most of them were pretty middle of the road, $20, $30. But if they got a PSA 10, then, they'd be worth quite a bit more. There was only one real nice card in there that I was hoping to have for my personal collection, which was my Justin Jefferson Uptown, which raw is worth, I think, $200, $250, something like that. So I sent it off as I sent off most of my submissions. And I think it was about a month later, I got an email from PSA's fraud department sending me like 10 different pictures of my package in their facility, showing how it had been tampered with, opened, my cards had been stolen, and the package had been retaped and sent on to PSA. I was pretty shocked. Like, nothing like this has ever happened to me, so I was just like not sure exactly like how to approach it. They gave me information on how to start my claim with FedEx. And so that's what I did, is I submitted my claim with FedEx. I sent pictures of the cards and the submission and the email from PSA, the photos of the package opened and everything. And I think it was 3 or 4 days later, I just got a blanket email from FedEx that said claim denied. And what they referenced was that I had purchased the prepaid label with PSA, which they called the return shipping program. And so PSA with FedEx has opted into a program called the return shipping program, where they're sending you the label and they're mailing your cards back to you. So PSA is the shipper and the returner. So it's like a closed circle. So it's all on PSA. The problem is the cards were stolen in transit while they were in FedEx's care. So PSA was like, not our problem. Mail at your own risk with FedEx. So I'm like, okay. So I call FedEx back and they're like, well, we actually denied it because PSA is the shipper and you can't even submit a claim. So I go back to PSA and PSA writes me a waiver that says we waive the rights to claim on this shipping so you can do it. So I'm like, okay. So I submit that to the file. 24 hours later, they deny it again because of this return shipping thing. So I call PSA and I tell them everything that's going on, and they said, too bad, so sad. Like, the cards were not in our possession. We didn't even grade them. Somebody took them on the way here, so nothing we can do about it. So I call FedEx back and I ask for it to be like escalated to a supervisor just so I could talk to somebody. And they looked at everything and they denied it for a third time because they said, we're not claiming responsibility for this. And I told that guy on the phone, I'm like, it's just so strange to me that basically FedEx has some sort of like criminal ring that's operating either at their local stores or with the drivers, where they know what to look for the PSA boxes, and they're opening them and taking the cards on the way back or when they're in transit to PSA. And it doesn't seem like FedEx has any interest in investigating this further. I'm like, here's my shipment. 100% was stolen somewhere, either at the shop or on the truck. They don't care. They don't want to trace it back. They don't want to interview me of where I dropped the package off and what time. And they could look at the cameras and see who did it and hold somebody accountable. No interest. So the last guy I talked to at FedEx, and this was the kicker, and this is what I want to get out there to everybody so you can understand when you're shipping your cards to FedEx or shipping them to PSA through FedEx. The last guy that I talked to, he said, you know what? I sympathize with your situation. He goes, the reality is, even if we say yes, there is no value PSA is putting on this shipment. So it's minimal. So the minimal payout is $100. That is the most you can get. If you buy the prepaid shipping label from PSA with the return shipping, the maximum you can get back is $100. And so he approved that. Apparently there's a $100 check coming in the mail for the whatever $500 or $600 worth of cards, which is wonderful. And that's just crazy to me that there is literally people, they graded like 120 million cards. Cards are getting stolen, and both sides are like putting their hands in the air saying, it's not my problem. So I'm going to give you some tips. I'm not exactly sure how it works at your local card shop or GameStop. Maybe there's more security features in place. But honestly, GameStop kind of scares me too, because like you could drop your cards off and the guy there could take your mint card out and put his crappier version into your submission and then just send it in. That's always a worry. Obviously, the most secure is going to be you personally delivering them to PSA, whether it's to their offices or some local, card event. Sometimes they set up shop at local card shops where you can just drop them off. That's always good. But I think there's some people that don't know this other option, which I've been doing the last couple submissions now, is when you submit everything through the app and it asks if you want the prepaid shipping label, you say no, you're going to ship it on your own. And then you scroll down and you see what the address is to use the post office to mail it to this random address. And now people are like, oh God, what if it gets lost? Well, no, I mean, you're still mailing it. I mean, the key point here is you're mailing it on your own. So you can insure the package at the post office for the correct amount of value in the box. And that way, if it's stolen or lost, you can do a claim through the post office for the correct amount. But in any event, I'm surprised this happened. I'm surprised it's still happening. I see a lot of videos about it. So all I can really say is just do your due diligence, send it on your own, try to do a drop-off event, one of those kind of things. But whatever you do, don't do the prepaid FedEx shipping label. Mail it on your own, get the insurance on your own, and just try to protect yourself, because nobody's going to help you if these get lost in the mail, which is super disappointing, especially since I had one of their memberships. I thought maybe they would help me a little bit better, but no. Anyways, if you listen this far, I appreciate it.